Even if they're upset with you, but if they think, oh, she understands why, she understands me, the hate goes away.
So first of all, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm the boss, and I'm also the company owner.
Yes.
Normally, employees hate the boss or hate the company owner, but not both. But then when they hate the boss, they resign. Oh no, when they hate the boss, they don't resign. They move to another department, right? When they hate the company owner, they resign.
Yes.
But when it comes to my very small startup, they resign in either case. So like, how would I build trust in that case and like prevent the resignation?
I think part of the job of any boss, it can be the company owner, entrepreneur of a startup, a simple shift manager, is to make their employee feel seen and cared for. And the only way you can do that is by talking to them, getting to know them a little bit personally, finding out what's happening with them, and if they come to you with concerns, with problems, to listen. When what psychologists do that's most effective is not the advice, is the listening, is making people feel heard by listening and saying, okay, I understand you're very upset with me, and I understand that you're upset because of A, B, and C. And if somebody feels, even if they're upset with you, but if they think, oh, she understands why, she understands me, the hate goes away. Because when people feel understood, they don't feel angry.
What if they ask for something that I cannot give?
Then you don't just say no. You can say, I would love to be able to give that to you. I would love to be able to do that for you, truly, because I want you to be happy. But we're a startup. We are very, very limited. I hope that when we grow, I'll be able to do that. And I'm so sorry that I'm not able to do that right now. So even the no comes from a place of kindness, and it encourages them, if they have other requests, they can come. That I can't do, maybe something else I can do. But if they feel that they can come to you and they can ask for things, even if they don't get them, but you're not angry with them for asking, you're not just saying no, you're explaining and saying, I wish I could. They'll be less angry and they'll feel heard, and they're less likely to leave.
So even though I cannot deliver what they ask for, I should just let them speak and I listen like with empathy?
Yes, you listen, you understand the request, you don't blame them for asking, you just say, oh, that is such a great request, even if it's not. You just say, that is such a great request, I wish I could do that for you, unfortunately I really can't, we're a startup, or that's just not something that's going to work, or whatever the reason is. But first you listen so they feel heard, they feel seen, they don't feel pushed away, and you can apologize for not giving them something, even if it's something outrageous that you would never give them. You can apologize for it and say, I'm so sorry, I wish I could give that to you, I can't. And that will make them much less angry. It'll make them feel cared for, even if they're not getting what they want.
Even if they don't get what they want?
Yes, even if they don't.
Okay, that sounds great. So the second question would be office politics.
Yes.
There are a lot of politics, right? And the newcomers are usually dragged. Like let's say, so the scenario is that there are two high performers, and two high performers are backstabbing each other, and they pretend that they're friendly to each other. And then there's a newcomer joining the company. So both high performers want the newcomer to join their political parties inside the office. Then what would you suggest the newcomer like to react in order not to be punished by both political parties in the office?
Look, if they're two high performers and they're backstabbing each other, it's because apparently they think that to be number one is the most important thing. And maybe you're giving the message that being number one is the most important thing. And yes, that can add motivation to people, but if it's adding so much motivation that they'd rather backstab each other, then you're not winning as the company owner, because one of them has to lose. And I promise you that when one of them loses, they're not going to be happy and they might want to go somewhere else, and they're a high performer. So maybe there's something you can do so that it doesn't have to be a one win, one lose. Maybe as a way to frame it for them that we succeed as a team. And if one person outperformed 1 month and another did another month, there's no winner, there's no loser, there's no prize for the winner. There can be this general appreciation, number one. Number two, if outperformers, what they do is they're doing something very well that other people who are not outperforming are not doing as well. So you want everyone to learn from the high performers.
Right.
So that everyone can be a high performer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have, let's say, a meeting in which everyone has to share one thing that they do that's been very successful. So it's not their personal knowledge, so they're the ones that can use it and no one else can. We share what works because we want to succeed as a company, not as individuals. And so the culture has to be we succeed together or we don't succeed together. We don't succeed individually here. It is part of a company. We're a family. We succeed together.
Okay. So I heard a lot of companies, which is like the companies which are doing well, they tend to make two employees compete with each other.
Not necessarily at all, because you creating the competition is fine, but if the competition is one at the expense of another person, it's not fine. Your competition is not within the company, it's outside of the company. Your competition is your competition as another startup,
right,
or somebody else in your space, or somebody else doing what you do. And you need to reorient them towards our competition is not here. We need to beat them. Give them an external target to focus on, and they won't need to focus on an internal target.
Got it, yeah. So there must be a target, but it can be external. It should be external because that's the company, that's the organizational goals, right?
Yes.
Okay. So another question. So there's an office romance, and then they broke up.
That's a problem.
And then normally when people broke up, either one of them wants to leave the company, but I want to retain them both. Is it anything that I can do to fix their broken hearts?
So one of them is heartbroken, the other one not?
Probably both.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is really difficult because, and how long has it been? And they haven't left yet though?
No, they haven't left.
Or has it just happened right now?
It's just recently happened.
And are they talking about it? How are they managing together? They're seeing each other all the time?
They avoid each other.
Okay, good. And they can avoid each other?
Not really. Like, it does affect the team morale and the work, the performance.
Look, one thing you can try, I mean, it's very difficult, right? Because if your heart is broken, my advice is always get distance. I have the no contact rule.
Yeah.
There's no contact rule if they're working together. So it's very difficult, but maybe you can get both of them in a room. Just you and them and both of them.
Yes.
Is it public? Do they know that you know that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. To get both of them in the room and say, you are both very valuable employees to me. I care about you and I care about you. And I know you're hurting and I'm so sorry you're hurting. And I know you're hurting and I'm so sorry you're hurting. What can I do to help you, each of you, hurt less? What can I do to support you? Again, the magic is in the question. Because what you're conveying is, I care about you. I care about both of you.
Yes.
And people don't really want to leave somewhere where they feel really cared for. They're not going to be cared for by one another. So it's you.
Okay, so I'm the caretaker for both of them now.
No, you're not caretaker. Caretaker means babysitter. I don't mean babysitter. I mean you're just somebody who cares about them, who sees that they're suffering. Having that discussion, having them in the room and with that conversation is a very powerful thing because they have to answer you in front of the other person. If you do it one by one, oh, she this or he this, or if it's together, and then want to suggest one other thing, say to them, could you please talk together now in front of me about how I can help you?
That would be awkward.
Yes, for them.
Yeah.
For them. But the idea is, okay, they'll try and come up with something, and again, they'll feel seen, they'll feel careful. This is what a parent would do if both the kids are fighting.
Okay.
I think that's the best that you can do. It might not work because if it's really painful, but I think that's the best you can do.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. So there's another question. Is it true that people bond through suffering? Like for example, joining a project that clients are not very likable, and then like would gossiping the client help relieve the stress from the team members, or would help them or would contribute to the burnout because of negativity?
Okay, here's the thing there. There are clients who can be difficult,
Yes.
and there are clients who can be abusive. And that's a difference. Difficult means they're demanding, but are they respectful to the employees? Are they, do you know what I mean? In other words,
Yeah.
are they treating them with respect even if they're demanding?
Yeah, they're not that bad. I mean,
Okay.
they're increasing the scope endlessly,
But that's a good thing for you.
not increasing the money, increasing the scope, but they're not insulting employees.
Oh, okay. And so they're just it's a lot of work and people have
Right.
to work really,
Yeah,
really hard.
endlessly.
It's a problem to let them vent about the client because that'll bleed out into the work. They'll have resentments toward the client because if one of them says, oh, they're so annoying, oh yeah, they're really annoying, and that becomes a thing, it might help the people feel bonded and but that'll impact the work they're doing for this client. You don't want to invest a lot in a client that you don't like, right? I would again have a staff meeting and say, guys, they want to, as you know, they're increasing the scope. We're not getting paid for much more, so that's difficult. But we're a startup. We can't afford to lose a client. Let's talk together about what those stresses are. How can we support one another now that we have more work to do? Let's all think together. Do you know what I mean? I think part of what you're doing is, as a CEO and a founder, you're trying to solve everything by yourself. Don't. Use them and ask them, like with a couple, how can I help you? Talk together. Like with this, like with a team, this is difficult for all of us. Let's brainstorm together how we can do a good job. Do you know what I
Brainstorm
mean?
within the team?
Within the team.
Okay.
You leading the brainstorming section.
To reset the workflow process, or
If that's whatever works. I mean, I don't know exactly what the thing is, but maybe they'll talk about workflow. Maybe they'll talk about maybe doing some more shift work, so something they can get more free time. Maybe one of them can do something so the other gets a break and then trade off. I don't know the solutions. It depends on the context. But don't feel you have to come up with all of them. But these are your people. Have them come up with ideas.
Okay, so the last question would be about the emotional management for an entrepreneur, because you know that it's very stressful, right?
Yes, it's lonely at the top. It's incredibly uncertain.
Yes.
You're doing all of this with no guarantee that it's ever going to work
Yeah.
out. It's such a difficult thing. Yes, what's the question?
Normally, salary man get paid every month. Entrepreneur pays every month. So what to do? How do I manage emotions?
Okay.
And I cannot vent with my employees, right?
There are global organizations and forums for CEOs. And there are very specific ones also for female CEOs because of those pressures. Who will understand you are the CEOs. Who can support you are the female CEOs. And I know that there are global organizations because I know that people from many, many countries, I've met people like, oh yes, I know them because we're in this group together of CEOs and entrepreneurs. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but you can find them. Find other, especially female entrepreneurs and CEOs, join those groups. They usually put people together in groups of 7 or 8 with the sole purpose of supporting one another.
Okay.
So get support. It's very difficult to do by yourself. It's if you can share some of this with other entrepreneurs and with other, especially female entrepreneurs, because you have your own set of issues to deal with as a woman, unfortunately, we know what goes on. That would be really, really helpful. Find those, get support.
So getting to know other people who understand us and support each other,
Yes.
and vent out some problems if I have to
And people talk about it. I work with CEOs who are in those groups, and they will use one another. They'll call and say, I don't know what to do with this. Let's talk about it. That's what those groups are for. Literally to support the CEOs, to support each other, because it's lonely at the top.
Right. Oh, so it's not like I have to be a superwoman and doing everything by myself, and I should ask for support from
Yes,
other
and I'll tell you
people.
another thing. Every CEO that I work with, and I work with many, 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 many CEOs, they're all like, I'm going through this. I don't know if other CEOs are going through it. And I'm like, it's going through it. This is the journey for CEOs and founders and startups. It is lonely, it is stressful, it is anxiety provoking, it can be depressing, it can be exhausting. And that's what people talk about. You know, sometimes actual content, what do I do with this vendor? But it's a lot about, I'm dying here, help me out. You
Right.
know.
Burning out every day.
Yes, yes, yes. Get support. It's too difficult to do by yourself.